Welcome to another episode of Monster Men.
Arr.
Okay, so we both really are into the whole ghost and paranormal thing, whether we're 100% buying everything that we see, not
really.
so much. But you, more than me, have had actual personal experiences. On another episode, you talked about your experience in Barcelona, which part of my reason to believe in the paranormal is because you keep coming up with personal experiences, and I don't know whether you're just messing with me.
No, I'm being honest with you.
Can I buy a story from...
This keeps the ghosts away. This is like a foil hat to keep the aliens
your
away.
talisman hat?
Yes.
But you have a blog post on your Hunter Shea. By the way, I'm Jack Campisi, and this is Hunter Shea.
Hattie?
On your blog, huntershea.com, you had a great article about a night you spent on the Queen Mary, which is one of the, if you had to say top 10 ghost destinations in the U.S., that would probably be one of them.
I think, especially in the West Coast, I think that's maybe one of three that top spots on the West Coast that you could go to.
So you spent a night on the Queen Mary, and why don't you tell us about it, because it sounds like it was pretty nutty.
I was alone. It was at the tail end of a business trip. I was out in L.A., and I had appointments in Long Beach, and I said, well, if I'm in Long Beach, let me go where the Queen Mary is moored. I checked in there. The Queen Mary is gigantic.
So was it a cruise ship?
Well, it was a cruise ship. Originally, it was a cruise ship. It was also designed, at one point, it was ferrying troops back and forth during World War II.
So this is a Titanic-like ship?
It's definitely. And it is in its original state. So
Old boat.
It's old, and when you walk on it, when you first get in, and you go up the gangplank and you go into the check-in and you're on your deck, you look down in the hallways, and those who are into paranormal TV, these hallways are very famous for, people put a lot of cameras there. There's been shadows and figures that have been seen, but you literally cannot see to the end of the hallway from where you stand.
Wow.
When you're midship and you're looking down, you can't see the end. And it kind of, because it's old, the wood has kind of settled and warped, so it kind of goes down and up. And when I checked in, I was alone, and they said, well, your room is, I forget the room number. And I said, well, where is it? They said, well, it's 3/4 of the way down. So I'm dragging my bag down, and literally there isn't a soul on that entire section of the ship. And they put me all the way down.
Is that the right way to put it? There might be souls.
There might be, there's not a living soul where I am, and there never was. So I go down, and one thing I noticed is the ship itself is so warped that your sense of balance is completely skewed from the moment you step on it. So your mind is seeing something that's relatively straight, but all the floors kind of wave a little bit, as do the ceilings, and it's the very short ceilings. So you feel boxed in, and you're dizzy immediately. But it's nothing paranormal. It's just strictly the way the ship is built. So I went down there, and I went to my tiny little room, and it's got a little porthole that you have to really use two hands to pull it open, and you get the nice sea air and everything, which was a nice little room, but old. And the first thing I did was sign up. I went back up to the top deck to sign up to do the paranormal walk that they do.
Nice.
I said, I have to do this. So they said, well, you come back at 7:30 at night, and then you're going to have your tour guides will meet you, and what they're going to do is just take you all around the ship to the hot spots. And I was psyched beyond belief. It was like, that was the 4 hours between buying those tickets and getting to do the walk were the longest 4 hours of my life. But then I kept thinking, all right, when I'm done with this 2.5-hour walking tour, I have to go back to this room by myself where there is not a soul in sight. But I said, all right, forget it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to get drunk and go on the tour drunk. I just want to enjoy the entire experience. So the time came. I go down to where we had a meet-up in midship right by where the check-in is. And this is the part you'll like. these two guys walk in, and they're dressed as, you know, they work for the ship. And one guy is a normal-looking guy, very nice guy, very animated. And his other guy, he looks like that dude from the Twilight Zone when the woman wanted to be beautiful, and everybody actually has these kind of like pig noses and weird faces. He looked just like one of them. And he's this big, tall guy with big square shoulders, and his arms kind of hang out his sides.
That might be scarier than any ghost.
He was freaky. He was totally freaky. And they introduce him as the guy who is there to take you either off the ship, back to your room, or just take you to the side if you get too terrified, or if anything untoward happens. So immediately, your mind's going, oh, wow, something weird's going to happen here. First thing they do, they take you all the way down to the bottom of the ship, and you're 30 feet under the water. And this is where, only on this tour, which is done, I think this is 2 nights a week, it's the only time you get to go down here. And you're down in the old engine room, where the engines are completely gone. And it's pitch black. And as the main tour guide is walking around, weird pig-faced guy is walking in these weird other places and popping up out of nowhere. Not to scare you, but he's just there.
Well, when a pig man pops up, it could scare you a little.
Out of the dark, I was a little off-put, and I tried to stay in the back. The first thing they do is they put a pair of dowsing rods in the hands of one of the people who was there, and they say, they're going to talk to a guy who supposedly was crushed by a door in there. And they said, can you talk? And it just makes, you know, the rods go back and forth, which I'm not a big believer in this. And they said, they started talking to this ghost, and it was making the rods go back and forth, supposedly. And they said, is there anyone who you want to come and visit tonight? And the rods got together and then pointed straight at stupid me, way in the back. I'm trying not to be part of this at all. And I'm off to the back and the side, and it goes, points right at me. And everybody is like, oh, you're going to be scared. Like, I'm not going to be scared. So we moved from there to another room, which was an old engine room, and there's parts and everything. And I got to say, there were weird noises going on there the whole time. And the guides were saying, wow, this is really rare. We never get this kind of noise. And at one point, I thought I saw something flash across the top, something brown, like this blood go right across these pipes. I said nothing. Pig face goes down, comes over to me, and goes, you just see that? Go up there by them pipes? And I'm not kidding the way he talked. And I said, yes, I did. And the woman in front of me goes, it was that brown thing that just went through there. I said, okay. I thought it was literally my eyes. I said, okay, let's move on to the next section. So we go on, and you're in rooms there was one room that was, everything had been taken out. I think it was where the smokestacks were. It is dark. It is as dark as closing your eyes. And you can't see the top. And it's vast. But there was nothing in there. They asked us to field where there's 2 supported cold spots. And they said, who can name the cold spots if you get to walk around? And they let everybody say where they thought they were, and I was the only one who got them exactly. And I was like, okay, strange thing number 2.
You're a magnet.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I think I might be. From there, we went to the famous...
I'm getting nervous.
There's doors creaking here. We went to the famous pool.
I've seen the pool on TV.
The pool was very cool. Here's a little thing you might not know. An episode of Charlie's Angels was shot in the pool.
Maybe that's why I know the pool.
When it was full, and they were supposed to be on a beautiful cruise ship, and that was the last time the pool was ever used. It was for Charlie's Angels. Farrah. And I think Farrah was in that episode. We went to there. We went to the bath, the changing rooms that had the vortex. I felt nothing except claustrophobic because everything's on top of you. But there was, and I didn't put this in my blog, but there was a 14-year-old boy who was with us. And he didn't want to go to the changing rooms because he was claustrophobic. So he sat behind, and they had a little mag-light, flashlight, like ghost hunters have been doing. And turns out he started talking to somebody who was turning that flashlight on and off for about 5 minutes.
Did you see that?
Yeah. What had happened was we came...
Because I'm always skeptical of that on Ghost Hunters, because I feel like there's a remote control just off screen.
And I don't know, it was the kid's flashlight that he had brought, and he was just sitting there, and he was talking supposedly to the little girl, and the light was turning on, it was turning off when he requested, and he just kind of, when it stopped, he just put it in his pocket. Oh, before he put it in his pocket, it was ice cold. I didn't get to feel it, but he was passing around. He was freaked out. Everybody was freaked out.
Wow.
And it was ice cold.
All right, so we got like 30 seconds to a minute left here.
What happened was, after all the tour, I went back to my room, and I am not ashamed to say, I slept with my lights on.
I don't blame you.
I'm sorry, there was just too much that went on. It was too much.
The rods pointed at you.
Once the rod pointed at me, I said, I don't really want to guest. I just want to be here alone. So I kept the lights on. And the TV I played.
So, needless to say, you recommend the Queen Mary if you're looking for a haunted
Absolutely.
evening.
If you're looking for a really fun paranormal tour, it was a lot of fun. A beautiful ship. It's old, but it is absolutely beautiful. Great restaurants. Go. By all means, go.
Awesome. All right. That does it for another episode of Monster Men. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Go check out the Queen Mary and check out the blog. He's got a little more detail on that too. So huntershay.com.
My Night on the Queen Mary.
Thanks.